Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 290. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another dynamic show in store for you. Today we're going to be talking about 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. Now, I'm sure each and every one of you has been on a webinar before within the last year or so. Now, I'm sure you realize some webinars are garbage. They're wasted time. All they are sales pitches, and other webinars actually provide quality information. What we're going to discuss today, guys, is how we can leverage technology to use webinars to help build a successful business. And I always talk about leads turn into prospects, turn into sales, turn into customers, turn into revenue. Okay, so if you don't have any leads, that means you don't have any prospects. You don't have any prospects, that means you don't have any sales. If you don't have any sales, that means you don't have any customers. And if you don't have any customers, that means you don't have any revenue, which basically means you're going to be out of business. So today, guys, we're going to really dive into webinars and how you can leverage technology to help build your business. Now, before we get to today's episode, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please subscribe to the podcast and also the YouTube channel. Now, make sure that you stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to give you all of my social media contact information and my resource links, including the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses, and also two of my platforms that I've created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide Black community, BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com, along with a whole bunch of other links and resources. So please make sure you stick around. Now, let's get to today's episode. Once again, 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. Okay, guys, benefit number one is you can deliver tremendous value on webinars. One of the great things about webinars is they can be interactive depending upon the platform that you're using. So you can interact via the chat, or you can use live video interaction in terms of taking questions and comments from your audience. So it all depends on what platform you're using, but webinars are interactive. They also deliver tremendous value because of the length of the webinar. It gives you time to build up trust, and also to give actionable steps and points and add value to the people that are on the webinar. Unlike a 30 or 60 second video, you don't have the time, obviously, to create those relationships with the people that are watching your webinars. So benefit number one is you can deliver tremendous value. Benefit number two, webinars position you as an expert in your field. Okay, so that's actually just a function of the medium. I talk about this all the time. So when Oprah used to come on TV, there were only certain types of people that would actually be invited to go on her show. You either had to be a celebrity, some form of fashion, an athlete, or you're usually a writer, people who write books. So books actually make you, quote unquote, become an expert or position you as an expert, and so do webinars. So when you're hosting a webinar, you're teaching something, you're providing something of value. So that makes that, or gives the perception that it positions you as an expert in the field. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you deliver once you actually get people on your webinar. So number 2 is they position you as an expert in your field. Benefit number 3 is you can make sales without selling hard. How many times have you been on a webinar and all you see is basically a glorified sales pitch? Now, you can actually make sales without selling hard by providing quality information. And I always talk about the formula I use: problem, solution, result. What is the problem? You highlight, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of, after I go through the 14 benefits, but you highlight the problem. You tell them what the solution is, whatever your product or service is, that's the solution. And then you talk about the result. What happens when you use that solution? So number 3, you can make sales without selling hard. You take people through a standard process, and there's ways to strategically create your webinar where you're taking people through an actual process, but it's not selling hard. It's actually providing quality information. So that's benefit number 3. And today we're talking about 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. Benefit number 4, webinars keep your audience engaged. So what does that mean? So on your webinar, you can have various things. You could have you doing a PowerPoint and you speaking over the PowerPoint. Your webinar could be you shooting somewhere live. It could be outside. It could be in a classroom, wherever. So you have the ability with video, which is the highest form of content, to create and engage your audience. Okay, once again, I talked about being interactive. So if you're just going over a PowerPoint, which a lot of webinars are, that's not really too engaging, right? So if you add different things in, different videos or different type of scenery, that can help engage your audience in addition to being interactive. Benefit number 5 is you can generate new leads. And like I said, guys, no leads equals no prospects, equals no sales, equals no customers, equals no revenue, equals you're out of business. So webinars can help you generate new leads. So a webinar could actually be used as a lead magnet, and we'll talk about that later on in today's episode. So the webinar can help you generate new leads for your business. Okay. Now you can do registration leads. You can do all types of leads, and we'll get into that when we talk about that a little later on. Benefit number 6, you can qualify new leads and build relationships. And let's dig into that a little bit. So in addition to generating new leads, you can qualify new leads, meaning that you can filter out a good lead from a bad lead. So for example, on your webinar, people will watch the webinar. If you would like more information, please email or go to this website. If you would like to learn more, go to this spot or whatever. So after people watch your webinar, you can actually direct them and give them another call to action if they're interested in learning more or going on with your services or products or whatever. And we're going to give you specific examples later on after we go through these 14 benefits. So not only at number 5 can you generate new leads, number 6, you can qualify new leads. Now, here's a perfect example of qualifying. So if you've ever looked at a job opportunity, and sometimes they'll tell you to go to this website and watch this video, and they're going to give you an overview of the job, the position, and all that type of stuff. And at the end, they're going to give you an opportunity. If you are still interested, please do whatever. It's a call to action. So what you've done is you've actually filtered out the people that are actually serious about taking the next steps. So that's qualifying new leads and building relationships. So that's number 6, benefit number 6. Benefit number 7, you can invite guests and leverage their audience and credibility. So just imagine that you're in the motivational space, okay? And you find somebody that's large in that space. Let's use E.T., Eric Thomas. And you're creating an actual webinar, and you invite E.T. and his audience to the webinar. Now, that webinar is going to get instant credibility because you've invited somebody that has credibility. Okay. Now you're also leveraging that credibility to bring additional people onto your webinar that you probably wouldn't get by yourself. So benefit number 7 is you can invite guests and leverage their audience and their credibility. Number 8, you can speed up your sales process and get a return on investment faster. You can speed up your sales process and get a return on investment faster. And the reason you're able to do this with webinars is, number 1, the length of a webinar. Your webinar could be 45 minutes up to an hour and 45 minutes. It all depends on what your subject matter is. But what that allows you to do is, once again, build that relationship, know, like, and trust. And also it can speed up the sales process and get your return on investment. So, for example, you have your webinar, you're introducing whatever your product and or service is, problem, solution, result. And at the end of that webinar, you put a call to action. If this is for you, if this makes sense to you, if this solves your problem, purchase whatever, and whatever your call to action is, but you can actually monetize right after the webinar. And so that's something that can help you speed up your sales process and get your return on investment faster. Number 9, which is real big, it's they're cost effective. And what we're talking about, guys, is 14 benefits of webinars, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. And number 9 is they're cost effective, meaning before you don't have to create a seminar. OK, you don't have to have an audio seminar. Now, webinars are cost effective. You find a platform that you want to host your webinars on. You drive traffic to get people to come to that webinar, and then you present. So they're very cost effective. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of seminar companies. You have to rent a space. You have to do direct mail, get people out there to whatever your seminar is. Now you have a cost-effective option by using technology and leveraging technology. Benefit number 10, which is major, scalability. Webinars are scalable. Okay, so once again, you can create a webinar and you can scale that based on the number of people that you have coming to the webinars. Okay, and we're going to talk about doing on-demand webinars, live webinars, evergreen webinars. We're going to talk about that briefly, but they are scalable. So you have a webinar. If you want to scale that webinar, then all you do is drive more traffic to your landing page and create more subscribers or people that sign up for your webinar. So they are scalable. If you find a webinar script or system that works, okay, and what I recommend is you start out, you do a couple of live webinars, you get that down pat, and then you really start to scale up. A lot of the webinar software will actually show you where people drop off in your webinars. So you could start out with 100 people at the beginning of your webinar, and then you get to a certain section in your webinar. You could be in 15 minutes in your webinar, and now 50% of the people drop off. What that's telling you is that there's something you're doing wrong at that part of the webinar. So once again, webinars are scalable, and all that is a matter of creating and finding the right webinar and then being able to scale or bring more people into that webinar. Okay. That's benefit number 10. Benefit number 11, they're convenient. Webinars, once again, are convenient. So you can watch a webinar from the comfort of your own home. You could be on your cell phone watching a webinar. You could be sitting in your office watching a webinar. Also, webinars now have what's called on-demand capability. So I use a software for my webinars called Easy Webinar. And on some of my webinars, I have what's called an on-demand capability. So, for example, one of my last webinars shows at 10 a.m. in the morning, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and 8 p.m. in the evening. But with my software, I can also offer another time. So if somebody, and it's in 15-minute increments. So if somebody goes to my landing page or one of my advertisements and they come in at 3 o'clock, now I don't have another webinar until 8 p.m. If they come in at, say, 2:55 p.m., what the webinar is going to do is going to say, you know what? We have another webinar available at 3 o'clock. So every 15 minutes, it's going to give them an opportunity to watch a recording of the webinar. Now, they're not necessarily going to know it's not a live webinar. I don't say it's live, but it's actually the same webinar, but it's called on demand. So that is very convenient. So if somebody, when's the best time to get somebody to watch something? As soon as they're interested. So once again, if they don't take the 10 o'clock time, the 1 o'clock or the 8 p.m., those options, the other option is on demand. So let me just explain this again, just so everybody is clear on this. So that webinar, which is, I recorded it live one time, but it is showing every day at 10, 1, and 8 p.m. You happen to see an ad or listen to the podcast, and it's 3:15 or 3:20 your time. You said, you know what, I need to sign up for this webinar. So when you sign up for that webinar, it's going to tell you, hey, we have the next showing at 3:30. Once again, 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, and then 4 o'clock. So it'll take it in 15-minute increments. So that means that it is on demand. Okay, so once again, number 11 there, convenient. You want to have convenience. So the best time for somebody to watch something is when, as soon as they respond to whatever you're trying to get them to watch. So if somebody responds at 3:20 and they have to wait to 8 p.m. that evening, the chances of them coming to that webinar decrease drastically because they have to wait that 4.5 hours for the webinar, as opposed to giving them an option that it's on demand right then. All right. So once again, guys, we're talking about 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. So number 11 was they're convenient and you have on demand capability. Number 12 is they offer long-term value, and we call that evergreen. So webinars, if you do a live webinar and then you create an automated webinar based on that live webinar, you've created a long-term value, and we call that an evergreen webinar, meaning that that webinar can continue to be played and played and played, and it's not necessarily constricted by any time constrictions or things of that nature. So you can create the webinar once live, and then based on the software you use, I use Easy Webinar, then I can automate that webinar. Once again, I'm using the other example, that it'll play every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., the option to watch it at 1 a.m., and the option to watch it at 8 p.m. unless they pick an on-demand time. Okay, so but that is evergreen content. So now I create the webinar once, then I automate the webinar, and people are able to go and still get that content. So once again, long-term value using an evergreen webinar. So once again, if you're doing something evergreen, you don't want to have specific time constraints to that webinar, because if so, you're going to have to keep recording the webinar over and over again to change those time constraints. Okay, that's 12, benefit number 12. Benefit number 13, they help you grow your list, leads, and sales. And that's what I always talk about, guys. List, leads, and sales. If you don't build up your database, if you don't build up a list of prospects, you will not be in business. It's the number one reason businesses fail. So if you have a business right now and your business isn't doing well, when I do my coaching, I can probably diagnose it right off the top. You don't have enough people to sell to. So the unfortunately, most people think about, you know what, I'm going to create a product and or a service, and then I'm going to go out and market it, and hopefully people will buy it. But that's the wrong thinking. What you need to find out, or what you need to do, is you need to build up your database. You need to build a lead magnet. And we'll talk about that. That's number 14. You need to build a lead magnet. Make people raise their hand. Hey, yeah, I'm interested in learning how to do that. Then you build that list up while you're creating your product. And once you've built that database up of 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people, when your product or service comes out, now you're going to funnel that information to the people that have already raised their hand. Okay. And that's how you build a business. You don't start off with the product and then not have the customers. You want to start building those customer base, or that customer base, before your product or service is out there. Okay. So benefit number 13, Webinars help you build your list, your leads, and your sales. Okay. And the final benefit 14, webinars are a great lead magnet. All right. So if you don't know what a lead magnet is, let me explain that to you. A lead magnet is usually a piece of content that people will raise their hand for. So, for example, if you're on Facebook and you see an ad that says, hey, a cheat sheet, the 5 best ways to create content for your e-commerce business. If you're interested in that, then you'll go and click on and you'll put your name and your email address and you'll get that checklist or whatever, that PDF as a download. So what it is basically, a lead magnet is a bribe basically to get you to leave your name and email, but it's something that you have an interest in. That means, hey, I'm interested in this. I raise my hand. And so webinars are a great lead magnet. And what you want to do is you want to create advertising that's going to offer your webinar. And I'm going to go through some real life examples. And that webinar is a lead magnet. People have to register for the webinar. So they're going to leave their name and their email address. And so that is what a lead magnet is. And once again, guys, if you don't have leads in your business, you're going to go out of business. The biggest reason people fail, guys, is they don't build their database. I did an episode, I forgot the number a couple months ago, but the money is in the list. And that's the biggest truism I can tell you. The money is in the list. If you don't have a list, you probably not going to be in business. You need to have a list of prospective customers that then transform or turn into paying customers so you can get that revenue and continue to rock and roll. So once again, let me just give you an idea about a lead magnet, and I'll give you some real life examples. So say you're selling a service, like say you're a CPA, right? You can create a webinar that's titled Learn 5 Strategies to Reduce Your Business Taxes. So if I'm an entrepreneur and I don't want to pay a lot of taxes, would this be something that I may be interested in? Probably so. So this CPA can create a webinar and he or she will talk about the 5 strategies to reduce your business taxes. Okay. So that's a lead magnet. Okay. Say you're a coach, like a life coach or something. You could create a webinar saying, learn how to 3x your profits by implementing systems into your business. Learn how to 3x your profits by implementing systems into your business. Okay. If you are an entrepreneur, do you want to 3x your business? Are you having trouble with creating systems to build your business? This may be something that you'll raise your hand for and say, you know what? Let me put my name and email address in here so I can go to this webinar. So that is a lead magnet. All right. Now, say you're selling products. Okay. Say you're selling some type of software. You can create a webinar that says how to find winning products to sell online using ABC software. Okay. So if you're looking to create an e-commerce business and you don't know how to find products that are winning products, then this may be something that you'd be interested in attending. So you're going to put your name in and your email address, and now you're registered for the webinar. All right. Say you're selling a business opportunity. Okay. You could create a webinar that says something to the effect that how to make $100K a year in the vending business. So you're going to target people that have an interest in vending, be it on Facebook or Google Ads, and you're going to create a page, a registration page for your webinar. Put your name, email address in here to register for the webinar, how to make $100K a year in the vending business. Lead magnets. Okay. If you don't have lead magnets to your business, then you're probably not maximizing your revenue potential. I know some people have businesses where you just get referrals all the time, and that's great. But if you're a new business or you want to scale your business, you're going to need to generate leads on a consistent basis. And one of the KPIs, key performance indexes that I use is how many new leads did I get today through my sales funnels? Okay. Because I know it's a function of numbers. So if I have 10,000 people in my database for a product or a service or whatever, then I know that a certain percentage of people out of those 10,000 are going to positively react to, say, an offer I put out. Okay. Say 10% of the people react to an offer I put out and I have 10,000 people on my list, that means 1,000 people have purchased or responded to the offer I put out. If I have 5 people on my list and I put the same offer out, guess what? That means a half a person would respond. So it's all a function of the numbers. And what webinars can do for you, family, is you can leverage technology to create a webinar that will generate leads for you day in and day out, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. Now, there's certain components to your webinar that have to make sense. Does your product and or service make sense? Is it a problem, solution, result type of webinar? Okay. The easiest way to sell something, guys, is to solve a problem. Okay. I know people have products that may be fashion products that don't necessarily solve a problem. Like Nike, for example, doesn't really solve a problem. It's a fashion statement. Okay. Gucci, Versace. It could be a shirt by Versace or whatever that costs $1,000. It's not really solving a problem. But what it is, it's a fashion statement. People associate wearing Versace and Gucci with having money, so it makes them feel good. But the easiest way to sell something, guys, is problem, solution, and result. Okay. Now, your webinars should be designed to give real value. You don't want to have a webinar as just a sales webinar. That's why people click off of your webinars when all you're doing is selling. That webinar needs to have value by itself. It should be a standalone value. And a lot of the ways that people make money with webinars is if there is a process. Okay. So in my new book coming out, Pinpoint Monetize Your Genius, the book is actually broken down into 3 sections. And I talk about this all the time on the show. Think, create, and execute. Okay. Thinking, that's a section, and it has subheadings under that, chapters under that, create, subchapters under that, and execute. So if you're doing a webinar, you can actually give value on one of the sections of your system, of your course, of your book, or whatever. And now the upsell could be, hey, if you want to learn how to do these other 2 parts to actually complete or learn how to do this system, then that may be something that's paid. But that's just an example, as you just don't want to do a big, 60-minute sales pitch. You want to provide real and give real value for people that are on your webinars. Okay, so a winning webinar has several different components. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the hero's journey. And so any movie you watch, so just the movie Gladiator. All right, so Gladiator was, Russell Crowe's movie. So he was a great warrior for Rome, got betrayed, ended up getting kicked out of Rome, killed his family. Then he makes a comeback. He becomes a slave and he makes a comeback. And that's a hero's journey. All of the major movies you look at have that same type of arc. And so in a webinar or any type of sales presentation, there's an arc to it and there's a system to it. So some of the components of a winning webinar, once again, are highlighting a problem. Okay. What is the problem? What's this problem causing you? All right. So if you're doing a webinar on your CPA and doing a webinar on taxes and you owe a ton of taxes, what's that problem causing you? Highlighting what the problem means to you. Man, I got to spend $25,000 to pay off this tax debt because my old CPA didn't know what the hell he was doing. And that actually happened to me before. It wasn't a CPA. Before I got to my CPA now, I was using another dude and he jacked my taxes up. So highlight the problem. What does that mean? Not just what the problem is, but what does that mean to the person? That means, damn, I owe the IRS 25 stacks and I got to figure out a way to pay it back. Okay. Number 2, you need to solve that problem. And what does that mean? Okay, well, now I have a new CPA. We're going to make sure that this never happens again. We're going to set up a plan to pay down the IRS, and I'll never have to worry about that again. So what does that mean? Peace of mind. I understand that, this new guy is going to take care of me and I don't have to worry about that again. And number 3, what's the definitive result? What happens? It means, hey, I'm not going to have that tax liability again because I got somebody that knows what they're doing. So your winning webinar should highlight a problem, solve the problem, and give a definitive result. Okay. And it doesn't matter if the webinar is about a product, a service, or whatever. You can use webinars in any type of business. Once again, one of the biggest uses of webinars right now are like independent agent companies, like insurance companies. So insurance companies that want you to sell their product or service many times will send you to a webinar that's going to outline the responsibilities and duties of that position. And what that webinar is designed to do is to filter out people that want to take the next step. Instead of a recruiter getting on the line talking to 100 people, let me send 100 people to the webinar. Out of those 100 people that go to the webinar or are redirected to the webinar, probably only 50 are going to show up to the webinar. Out of those 50 that show up, maybe 10 will take the next step. But what it does is it streamlines the process for the recruiter, where they don't have to talk to 100 people. They don't have to give the same spiel over and over again to those people. And what it does is it allows that recruiter to streamline. And now you have 10 people that watch the whole webinar and are like, hey, I'm interested in going to the next phase. So if you're a coach, if you're trying to sell an online course, whatever you're trying to do, a service or product, if you're a CPA, if you're a business coach, if you're selling software, if you're selling a business opportunity, whatever it is, what webinars are designed to do are to give you more information, and it allows you to get a deeper bond with the prospect. Because number one, if you're doing a video and you're talking, they'll get to hear you. They may get to see you, depending upon if you're either showing yourself or you're showing a slide presentation. They have the interaction that they're going to be able to ask questions. And that's where you're going to be able to show, your professionalism, how you answer those questions. Okay. So the benefits of webinars, guys, are no joke. So don't sleep on webinars. Once again, guys, you get no leads, no prospects, no sales, no customers, no revenues. All right. So the way you generate leads with a webinar is you create ads. Okay. So it could be Facebook ads. It could be Google ads. It could be native advertising. And you want to drive people to your webinar registration page. On that webinar registration page, people are going to have to put in their name and their email to register for the webinar. Now, you hope they go to the webinar. Just because they registered doesn't mean that they're going to go sign up. That they're going to attend the webinar. So once again, if you get 100 people that register, maybe only 70 people attend the webinar. Out of those 70 people, maybe only half of those 35 people get to the end of the webinar. And at that point, you have an opportunity to create a call to action for the next step. If you're interested in enrolling in my ABC course to help you solve whatever problem the webinar was talking about, then go to this website. If you would like a free 15 minutes consultation with me to see if my services match what you need, go schedule it at whatever website. So ad takes you to a webinar registration page. People go through the webinar. At the end of the webinar and throughout the webinar, you want to create a call to action. People need to be told what to do. All right. Hey, hang on until the end of today's webinar. And if you want to go further or learn more, go to www.whatever.com or reach out to me via email, whatever it is. But create calls to action throughout your webinars. So this is actually something I was going to create a webinar for. So if you are interested in learning more about it, just email me at, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com and just put something in the subject line like interested in learning more about webinars. Once again, I don't want to create it if people don't want to hear it or see it. But webinars, guys, are a tremendous way to make money, build your leads, build your database. And it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, depending upon what platform you use. So, for example, I use Easy Webinar. So I can create a live webinar and then I can automate it. I can say, okay, this is created live at this time. I want to record and I want to continue to show this webinar at X times during X days for the next 30 days, 60 days, or evergreen, till I decide to take it down. So today's show topic, family, is 14 benefits of webinars, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. Now, before we close out, I do want to share a couple things before we finish up the last quarter of the show. I want to give you guys my resource links and social media contact information, and then we'll finish up with a recap of the 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. So my new book is out, family, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. You can go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy. The digital version is $9.95, which has been updated and revised with bonus chapters, and the print version is $14.95. If you have ordered a print version, please bear with me. My book is sold out, and I'm waiting for a new shipment to come in, so bear with me. It should be in later on this week. Now, if you need additional assistance building a successful, sustainable e-commerce business, I've created a compatible online course titled educatedecommerce.com. Educatedecommerce.com. You can go there and enroll in the course. Now, at the top of the show, I talked about 2 platforms, guys, that I've created to help circulate dollars in the Black community. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is about building an economic power base in the Black community, and that means circulating dollars in our own worldwide community. So the first platform I created is called BeSmartByBlack.com, BeSmartByBlack.com, and that is a platform where Black product producers can upload their products for free and connect with Black consumers worldwide. It is free, so go to BeSmartByBlack.com, upload your products, and connect and sell with Black consumers worldwide. Now, if you are a freelancer, you do anything like on Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com, I didn't forget about you. So you can go to HireBlackFreelancers.com, HIRE, BlackFreelancers.com, upload your contact information and whatever information you want, whatever your freelance services are, and you can connect with Black consumers and Black businesses that are looking to connect and hire Black freelancers. Now, the reason I started HireBlackFreelancers.com is I was looking for a videographer in Philadelphia for an event I was doing, and for the life of me, I couldn't find one. So I created this platform so freelancers can get out there and shop their wares to Black consumers and Black businesses that want to spend their money back in the Black community. Now, if you want me to come out to speak at a church, event, college, school, whatever, or for my new book tour, A New Black Wall Street, you can go to bookjjones.com, bookjjones.com. Just fill out the short form, and I will get right back to you. Now, this is a mouthful, so you can go to BEBconnect.com, BEBconnect.com. Everything I just told you about all those social media platforms, or all those platforms, are going to be on that page, and also my social media contact information. So if you want to connect with me anything long, hit me on my email at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, go to Facebook, put in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, link up with me there. Twitter, jjones001, JAYJONES001. Instagram, connect with me on Instagram, jjones for real. That's JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, I'm telling y'all right now, please go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and subscribe. I literally just finished creating my studio, so I'm going to be doing a lot more short videos on YouTube. So once again, yes, the podcast does come out on YouTube in entirety, but I'm going to be creating 2 to 3 videos a week, probably 10 to 12-minute videos about actionable steps and how-to things that you can do to build your business, and that'll be coming up shortly. So go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and please subscribe, because there will be additional content on YouTube that is not on the podcast. Also, LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn, just type in J Jones Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. You can connect with me there. Once again, bookjjones.com if you want to book me for speaking or anything like that. Also, BEB Connect. That is where everything I just talked about is, bebconnect.com. All my social media handles and my resource links, bebconnect.com. Now, let's finish out the last portion of the show, 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. All right, guys, let's do a quick recap. Once again, 14 webinar benefits, how to build your business using live and automated webinars. Benefit number one, you can deliver tremendous value because you have an interactive platform that you can speak to your audience. Benefit number two, you can position yourself as an expert in the field. So anytime you're hosting or doing a presentation, you're perceived as an expert. So that's a tremendous benefit. Benefit number three, you can make sales without selling hard. So if you use a formulaic system that goes through a webinar, you can actually create sales without being a hard sell. The worst thing you want to do is create a webinar and all it is a 60 or 90-minute sales pitch. You will never convert that way. You have to give quality content on your webinars. Benefit number four, they keep your audience engaged. Once again, with a webinar, you can have video, you can have PowerPoint, you can have all types of stuff on the webinar to keep your audience engaged. Number five, you can generate new leads. Once again, you got to have leads in order to get revenue. All right. So once again, leads, prospects, sales, customers, revenue. All right. Benefit number six, you can qualify new leads and build relationships. I talked about that in depth. So you can qualify leads, make people take the next step, let them filter themselves out. Benefit number seven, you can invite guests and leverage their audience and their credibility. So if you have somebody that is in your space that has credibility and has an audience, you can invite them on your webinar and you can leverage that. And that's benefit number six. I'm sorry, that was benefit number seven. Benefit number eight, you can speed up your sales process and get a return on investment faster. So the reason you can speed up your sales process is because you've had people on this webinar, say for 60 or 90 minutes. It gives you the ability to let them know, like, and trust you. And also you're providing value. You're not on there doing the sales pitch. You're adding value. Good, actionable, quality information. Benefit number nine, webinars are cost effective. You don't have to go and create a place to have a webinar or a seminar anymore. People can go online, they can go on their cell phones, and they can watch your webinar there. It's cost effective for you. Okay. Number 10, they're scalable. All right. So if you're running ads to a webinar registration page and that webinar is converting into sales, then all you need to do is increase your ad budget and you can scale your business. All right. Benefit number 11, they're convenient. You have on-demand capability. Once again, people can watch your webinar from a cell phone. They can watch it from the comfort of their own home. They can watch it on their laptop. They can watch it at work if they have work. So it's convenient and you have on-demand capability. Benefit number 12, webinars offer long-term value. You can create an evergreen webinar that you can continue to use and generate leads and sales and revenues. Benefit number 13, they help you grow your list, leads, and sales. Once again, it's almost redundant, but the webinar can help you do that. Benefit number 14, they are a great lead magnet. Once again, run Facebook ads or Google ads or native advertising to a webinar registration page. People go register for the webinar. They watch the webinar. At the end of the webinar and throughout the webinar, you have a call to action, which will take them to the next phase of your actual process, whatever that process is, or your funnel. Now, before we close on out, guys, just want to remind you, if you are in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, I'll be coming at you on Saturday, March 14th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the State of Black Charlotte. And it's at the Carol Hoffner Center, 615 East 6th Street in Charlotte, 28202. And once again, it's Saturday, March 14th. My workshop is going to be about entrepreneurship, obviously. Please make sure you come and check it out. You can get tickets to the event at www.stateofblackcharlotte2020.eventbrite.com. www.stateofblackcharlotte2020.eventbrite.com. and that is entrance into the whole actual State of Black Charlotte event, and everything inside is free after that. So make sure you check it out. State of Black Charlotte, coming at you, Charlotte, Saturday, March 14th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's at the Carol Hoffner Center in Charlotte. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the BEB members in that area. Come on through. It's going to be a great event, great cultural event, great education, great information. Bring the family, bring the kids. It's going to be a great time. Now, before we close out, guys, I say this each and every week, but I mean it. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast, the YouTube channel, the blog, and everything, all the resource links. Once again, this whole thing, this whole Black Entrepreneur Blueprint movement is designed to build an economic power base in the Black community. There's no revolution without economics, family. You got to have the economics, and that's the foundation for us to continue to move forward as a people. So once again, each and every week we have more and more downloads, and that's attributed all to the BEB family. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please continue to spread the word, and be it via social media, word of mouth, whatever you need to do about the podcast, the blog, the resource links, and everything associated with the BEB movement. Love you guys. I'll see you same time next week. Peace.